Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome. Happy New Year. Here I am, first part of the year with one of my favorite, really, friends, authors, Hearts for Humanity, Suzanna Magic, who is celebrating. We're celebrating. You're celebrating with us. Her second book launched on January the 1st. There it is, Magical Moments of a Mystic. This one is about Beyond the Labels, sharing the divine gifts of labeled children. You know what we're talking about. Labels such as autism and ADHD, and Susanna can go through the list. She's worked with these children for what she might say is the best part of her years, but maybe not. Susanna, welcome and Happy New Year. Share with the audience, of course, where you are joining us from and a
Hi,
little bit about you.
I'm Susanna, and I've written my second book. And with Mary's encouragement, we're going to do a series of magical moments with subtitles here. So the first one was Magical Moments of a Mystic Living a Multidimensional Life. And the second one is Magical Moments of a Mystic Beyond the Labels. And these are scenarios and poems about labeled children that I've worked with, which I've done for a long time. Um, I've worked in all sorts of capacities as a home tutor, as a support teacher, as a family support worker, in schools, in tutor centres, all sorts of places. I've worked for charities, I've worked for the mainstream school, but I've always managed to get these magical children. Um, I say they're magical, they turn out to be magical. And I've got some lovely stories in here to share with you about how they blossom. They blossom if they're heard first of all, accepted as they are, then heard, and then amplified. I think that's the core work that I do, which is person-centered work. Um, so yeah,
That's
here's a
wonderful.
lovely collection. And what's lovely to me about it is they're all in colour. So I've got
Mhm.
this lovely colourful book. I don't know if you can see the colours there. Tell me. Yeah,
Sometimes it's a little tough to see on Zoom, but show us. So Susanna, this is the second one in your
it is.
amazing collection. Show us the first one. The first one was Magical Moments of a Mystic, uh,
Living a multi-dimensional
Living
life.
a Multidimensional Life. Same thing, colored pages. So I have a question for you. Obviously, in the book, I've read it, the poems, the gifts, the support. And you speak so beautifully about the divine gifts of labeled children. Will you share maybe a moment or one of the stories from the book that especially, I know there's a lot and I know you love all of these amazing stories and children, but one that moves you, one that really opened your heart?
I think they all opened my heart, and I think the work with the children, there were two things that were difficult about it. Sometimes getting through to the children, but I do seem to have an inordinate amount of patience. And the other thing was working in a system which didn't really appreciate often what I was doing, even though they saw the children change. Um, I just choose a simple one here because this little girl I called Bluebell. I changed the names of all the children to keep their identity from being revealed. And this little girl I called Bluebell. She was a tiny little thing, came into the school. I mean, in my opinion, she shouldn't even been in school. She was about 6, 7 years old, tiny little fairy type creature, just had a beatific smile on her face all the time, lived in her own little world. And she was sent to me because she wasn't making enough effort to learn to read. And she wasn't cooperating. I mean, this little girl was absolutely precious. She just sat and drew. So I gave her lots of paper and lots of crayons, and every now and again I would go over and talk to her and look at her pictures. And when I looked at them, they were full of sacred geometry. They'd got stars, they'd got spirals, they got diamonds, they got all sorts of stuff in it that just was recognizable. She'd got auras around people, and I just kept thinking, this little tiny girl living in her own world, seeing all these things that other people maybe aren't aware of. How can she be bothered, or how can she even want to learn to read yet? She just wasn't ready. But one day I took in some bluebells She was in a little group of children, actually, all with very disparate needs. You couldn't aim anything particularly at any of them. You just had to do something and hope they all responded in a particular way, all considered quite difficult in school. And this one, I took in some bluebells for the children to smell, to feel, to experience real life rather than classroom life, and to draw. And I went round the children ringing the bells in their ear, those little bluebells. Most of them thought I was quite mad, but this little girl, and I said, "What's the bluebell saying to you?" And she just smiled and said, "The bluebell says I'm a really good drawer."
Mm.
And it was just a massive breakthrough in lots of ways because she was obviously able to imagine, and she
Mhm.
was also able to respond, and she was also able to recognize her own gift of being able to draw and being happy in that world. So it was quite beautiful. And I just wrote a short poem here, and it's got a little bluebell on it. I wrote
It
two little
does.
poems. I won't read them both. This is called Bluebell. The tiny girl joined the group like a little fairy, quiet, delicate, bemused, as she drew fantastic pictures full of rainbows, geometric shapes. She smiled sweetly, but rarely spoke. Till one day, when I took the bluebells to the group, I rang one in her ear, asking her, "What does the bluebell say?" She spoke with laughter in her tiny fairy voice and said, "The bluebell's telling me I'm a very good drawer." So it's just a lovely little moment. And I was able from that contact to then talk to her more often and draw with her and draw her out and draw some words that she could write and, and then start to read. She just needed really bringing into her body. She wasn't really with us yet. And we tend to start education in this country, in the UK, in the year that you're going to be 5. It's very young. And for some little children, it's just too soon to start formal education. And so they're set up to sort of not succeed right from the beginning. But all the labels she was given, she wasn't being difficult or uncooperative or not trying hard enough. She just was still in her own little world. And
Mm.
I was the same as a child, so I understood perfectly. And to make a connection, to find something to make that connection between another human adult, maybe, and her world is the way forward to draw her into this world a little bit more. So
Mm,
yeah,
very
that's what I
grounding
do.
drawing for her. I love that. I love that Bluebell story. I love putting the little picture in the book. I think it's just phenomenal. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. And what a divine and magical reader you are of
No, thank
these
you.
stories.
You know,
So,
my heart feels full when I talk. I could write a book about each child. You can probably tell on what I had most difficulty with this book. I wrote a little scenario setting the scene of where I was with the child and the background of the child, and then the poem. And the poem I wrote as a way of me processing my work with the child. And it was really hard to write these short scenarios because, as I say, I could write a book about each child. Each child is quite complex, quite, and it just takes a while to get through to them or to find a way and to find a way into their world. And that's the secret, really, finding a way into their world and
mhm.
welcoming them into our world.
Love that. That's beautiful. Before I move on to what the next book might look like, what are your hopes for this book, Susanna, from the lines of maybe educators or parents or healers or people that find this book in their hands? This book is for everybody, by the way, but what really is your hope? How can we, for readers?
Well, I think my hope is just to foster an understanding of soul purpose, of who each individual is and what gifts they might have. A lot of people, I mean, there's a wonderful line in a Doris Lessing book called Paragraph where she talks about most people resonate or vibrate 1 to 10, but some people resonate as well up to 14. So she's in that band from 10 to 14. And those people are often misunderstood socially or have gifts, um, or just find it difficult to be here. And I think these children are like that. And I'd like parents to be very patient with their children. I'd like teachers to have a completely different approach. Instead of trying to make the child fit into a narrow curriculum, expand that idea that each person can work individually and everything they achieve is an achievement. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you go, but it has to be more individually tailored. And finding your own gifts. Some children are just very empathic and they're there to bring love and healing and compassion to others. They don't want to learn history. They don't want to do, it's just very different. And it's being allowed to find your own gift and being educated to become more of yourself rather than educated to fit into a system.
That part, that part, that tunes in a lot to why I love to support nonfiction authors and people sharing their stories of transformation and all that, those blessings. I just, because we get to tune into our unique self, our unique path, our unique transformation. Because truth be told, right, Susanna, we're all different.
Yeah, you're all unique.
All of us. Yeah, there's a beautiful, and I'm not going to tell you much about it aside from go buy the book. It's available as an ebook and a paperback. There's a beautiful poem in there with some gorgeous photos about being unique. And truth be told, so thank you for putting this work out. Being
Thank you for helping me because I'm very dyslexic and my work is all over the place on little bits of paper and tissues and envelopes. And you've really helped me to ground my life to produce something which I find very difficult to do. So, and it's beautiful too. I mean, the colors we've chosen, the back, the quality of the book is also a pleasure to hold. It's a really nice print. And the way Mary managed to find a way to get it printed in color is absolutely stunning. So the color vibration also gives you another dimension to the words
Mhm.
and to the insight into the children. There's one little bit here I just thought I might like to read. This is from a friend who's a teacher. I asked her to read some of the poems before we printed them. There's a lot of lovely reader feedback in here. And it says, I'm so proud of you. Well done. I liked the poem Guided Answers, and it's given me inspiration for another way to guide my own class. So,
That.
you know,
Mhm.
and also some of the other poems she really liked because it's given me an insight into how children think differently. So,
Yeah, there's loads of what we like to call reader love in the back to really,
yeah.
again, it helps people ground and perceive and look at things and from a different kind of magic. Magic is just unseen, unknown. We just put a sweet little word on it, but
Well,
it's
I say I write under the name Suzanna Magic, and the name Mrs. Magic was given to me by an educational psychologist who came into one of the schools I was working in and said, I just had to come and see you because we call you Mrs. Magic. We've no idea how you changed these children so quickly. And I thought, what's everyone else doing with these children? I'm just being me and they're just being them. And we're excited to be producing stuff and chatting and working. And,
yeah.
it's not rocket science to me. And I think, well, what is everyone else doing? Well, when I go into the classrooms, I see sometimes that it is so dull and so boring and so rigid. It's the rigidity of it, really. It's not nurturing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope I'm thinking that things are really shifting and changing, maybe not as quickly as one might like, but because you're putting your work into the world, Susanna, it's just another up level to the frequency of how we can look at these children, these these souls that are coming in
Yeah.
to carry on what the work that we've created, what we've started, and to also show us honorable new ways to see life. And this, I think, this is the magic of being human. There are,
Well,
there's a song I listen to, not really a song, but a guided meditation by East Forest, and it really is about walking on the edge of something with no edge.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting too because I say a lot of the children, they flourish so quickly once they're nurtured and once they understand themselves and once people hear what they've got to say. And then they see the point of being at school. They see the point of learning to read. They see the point of joining in, and they're not anti everything as because they've
Mm.
been labeled with, I mean, naughty, or they've been expelled from school. One child, two of the children I had actually were expelled for being too clever for their own good. I mean, whatever does that mean? How can you be too clever at 5 years old to be, to be in school?
It's a
Uh,
great side note for educators, for
yeah,
parents, for teachers, for all of us, really, that what you just said, Susanna, is once these children are seen for who they are, just like those of us that are out here in the industry, once we're seen, once you feel seen for who you are,
yeah.
everything changes. Well, thank you. Thank you for, again, putting this out. So we have just a few minutes, Susanna. Tell us a little bit about the next book.
Well, I have a choice of books because I've already written a lot of poems. What I thought I might do next, I'd written a very short play called Beyond the Labels about two different styles of teaching. There's only like three scenes in it. It's a very short play. And I thought it might make a next book very quickly because it's been written, probably needs a bit of modification to be printed out. I've seen it produced 3 or 4 times in small settings. And it starts off with souls coming to Earth with their gift and the label they're given when they get here, like dyslexic, dyspraxic, Downs, all those different labels you can be given, Asperger's. Um, and then being with a very traditional teacher, and they're all being shouted at and made to fit in and made to learn. And then Mrs. Magic comes to the school, who of course is me, and works with them very creatively and is loving and kind, and they all just flourish in their own right. They're all unique, all different, and they don't necessarily all do things the same, and they won't do. But it's just lovely to see and I have seen it happen, and I've seen it in schools where children had been excluded and expelled, and I managed to feed them back with a view that there's a reason for them at school. There's a purpose to being there.
Mhm. Yeah, there's an example for each and every one of us as an example. Well,
Yeah.
it's always a pleasure to be on a call with you, to be near you, to sit beside you while you share this beautiful, beautiful poetic work with the world. So thank you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those of you that have been sitting on your own manuscript, your own poetic justed, your own stories, and you are thinking, I want to know more about how I can step forward, you can look me up. Of course, marygooden.com. Our next 2 day event is January 28th and 29th. 2 day event that will share with you just how you can go from writing to published in 90 days. I share my 5 step process. Susanna's books are very unique and very colorful and very right in themselves. And there's a space for that too. So, for those of you here everywhere that might be going through what I'm calling the ascension flu, where you're feeling a little stuffy and you're feeling a lot of detoxing from your body, I'm sending you miraculous blessings of healing as I feel like I'm coming out of some major detoxing and loads of love. Give yourself some space, give yourself some rest, everyone. Give yourself some love
Yeah.
this month. A lot of us might feel like we're charging ahead to January. Give yourself some space to sit back and create a new comfortable foundation for yourself. Yes, Susanna, you've got something to share with us.
Well, I'm just really excited that this was published on the 1st of the
Yeah.
1st, 26. It's a number 1 year. So for me, it's a whole new beginning. I'm quite exhausted after all of Christmas because it was busy. And I have done what you said there. I treated myself, or my daughter treated me for Christmas to a full body massage. So hence my hair's up. It's full of oil. And I feel wonderful. So it's lovely.
Yeah.
It is a nice way. These 2 months, particularly January and February, particularly in the cold parts, it's time to withdraw and nurture yourself and just see what you're going to produce next. So, and thank
So,
you, Mary, for being there by
oh,
my side. You're so encouraging. I have to say, one of the things downsides about the work that I've done is I wasn't always welcome in the schools.
Yeah.
It seemed to fall into two. Some of the teachers really liked what I did, and some of them just couldn't understand who I was and thought it threatened the way they worked and didn't want me there. So it's not always been an easy path, but it's the path that chose me.
Mhm. I always
And
like to say it's, yes, there may have been some bumps along the road, but totally worth it.
yeah, and
All
I've
right, we'll
often,
leave you all with that. It's totally worth it. If you have a message for the world, it's totally worth it to get it out. All right, my love. Thank you,
thank you.
Susanna. Have a blessed day. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Let us know in the comments what you think. And also let us know that you got the book. Say, I've got my book. I'll put links in the comments so you can go grab it easily. And if you ask me, I would just go ahead and get the paperback. Bring that energy into your home. Open that book, look at these colors, feel it. As Suzanne always says, it just feels good. All right, bye for now, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.